the Ask Jana show. We have Joel Ong from Take Your Time. He's got some interesting questions coming up about his business. He's a videography strategist and such a great guy. Without further ado, let's dive in. Joel, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm grateful to have you on the show. Tell us a bit about yourself and why you're here.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Um, I'm 23 years old this year. Um, Entrepreneurship wannabe journey in the beginnings about 5 or 6 years ago. When I was like about 17. It just started with a simple reason of wanting to travel, really. And I couldn't afford it, so I wanted to find a way to, make some money offhand and then be able to fund my travels around the world. So that's kind of how it got started. Dived into like photography and then later on videography and then the whole sphere of like marketing, hospitality, etc., etc. And then got down the whole rabbit hole. I think recently, I think over the past year, it transitioned, and one of the reasons why I decided to stop producing just pretty videos or commercial, really nice looking, fancy videos, and really went into producing videos for businesses is really because I wanted to be able to bring more impact as an individual with the skill sets that I've learned and really be able to touch people's lives because I used to think of businesses as this mean money grabbing machines where they're just out to rip you off and stuff. But then I had a change of perspective because if you look around all of us, the things that really change the world today, whether it's a product or service, etc., they are all businesses. So if I'm able to impact them on that level, then it bleeds down to not only the business owners but also the employees, the team, and then also the customers that they serve, which is a whole heck of a lot of people. And I think on a personal side of things, and I shared this on some other previous podcasts as well, where last year I had a close relative of mine pass away from cancer at a very early age. And then within the span of a week, I had a friend who committed suicide as well. And the guy was killing it on all sorts of things, like he's intelligent, really successful, etc. And losing two people just like that, and then seeing them in a coffin just a week later is bizarre. It was a weird, weird feeling, and it really made me reconsider and think about what I was doing and whether that was meaningful or if that was one of the last things I want to remember. If I know I'm not going to live another day, and so I asked myself like what really made me very happy, and it was really seeing the faces on people who I've helped or touched because I'm able to record their message, their story, their passion of why they started doing something. It can be a really small thing, but I've had like people who nearly tear up on camera, and it's almost like cathartic or therapeutic for them, really. To be able to share this after keeping it back for a long time, or just giving expression to different things, and so I really enjoy that whole experience and being able to document it and then amplify it online, so that more people can hear about it. So eventually, their thing can prosper better. So that's really the essence of what I do. On the side, I mean, various interests. I also do acting part time as well. I'm big into psychology, philosophy. I love to travel. I mean, I'm kind of exploring several languages at the moment as well. So trying to just be more of a diverse individual. So that's basically what I'm up to.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So, I mean, thanks so much for sharing that. And it's really powerful to hear the journey so far and what got you to where you are. And having those two moments in your life to really kind of bedrock what you're looking to do next, it took you back and to allow you to move forward in a clearer mindset. So what are you doing on a day to day? If we're going to break it down, what's your business and what do you do?
So on a day-to-day basis, so normally the projects that I take on, I don't take on many clients. So typically it's about 2 to 3 maximum every month. So normally the projects range from like, 1 to 2 weeks or even slightly longer. I mean, this whole spiel of like strategy, then the actual production, and then of course the revisions, and then working with the clients. So that's kind of like what I do on a macro scale, month to month. On a day to day kind of basis, um, I I look at some fitness or you know, spending time with family and friends, etc. But I mean, in terms of like business time and what I do, beyond the own miscellaneous stuff of like replying to emails, etc., or just producing marketing content. 10% of that time is devoted to producing my own podcast episodes, um, where I speak with I try to find guests who I want to learn from primarily, and who I don't know much about whatever they're doing, um, and so I really want to find out what makes them tick as individuals, or find out if there's some common similar trends, and then that helps me because I learn how to ask better questions. So it's a bit bizarre for me to speak. Normally, I'm more used to asking questions, um, and something interesting I found is that that helps me in terms of my video work, because on video work, if I'm doing an interview, I kind of have to go with the flow and really listen to what people are saying, and then respond and ask questions based on that, instead of just having to pre-prepare everything. So that's on that front. Marketing takes up about 40 to 50% of my time. Um, about another 20 to 30% is client fulfillment kind of work, and then the remaining 10% I think is kind of strategy, or I would say, in all honesty, it's probably more distraction time than anything. So I'll probably be able to um, you know, better utilize that bits of time. So that's kind of a broad overview.
Oh, awesome. Interesting. No, that's good to see. I
Yeah.
think your 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 thought process there in the way you ran through your day was, it started off with yourself, you time, family time, and then the business side of things fell in, which is a good way of planning things. Actually, many of us fail to plan in our own time, which is why we're doing all of this, right? So, Joel, tell us a bit more about what's keeping you up at night. Is there any sort of critical business questions you want to ask?
Yeah, it's something around the thing that I'd offer. So my industry is quite a crowded space, where you have guys who do videos very well, technically very inclined, and even someone who, I mean, if you're a confident business owner, and you really devote 6 months to a year to really master the camera and shooting videos, you'd probably be as good as me. So that's kind of the problem here in the industry, because everybody is a technician. Then I really started to focus on a different question of strategy. My problem is being able to articulate that in a simple fashion to my prospects or even my clients, and then be able to educate them on what's the true value behind it. Because I don't think people go into as deep of a train of thought on videos, or how to use them in businesses, as I do, because I spend the bulk of my time doing that. So it's almost like trying to go back to a beginner's mindset and be able to think of the questions that is going through their heads, so that I can relate to them better, and of course connect with them, then sell more, or even just speak to them on a more relatable personal level. So even after I do all these tons of market research and read people's comments, reviews, see their thoughts and frustrations, it's very, very hard to go back into a beginner's mindset. So like, what sort of questions do you ask yourself, or I mean routines that you do, strategies, frameworks you apply, or even habits that you do, like for instance, could it be just forget everything you know about this thing, and then try to relearn it again, and then figure out what those questions are, etc. So I'm trying to think of how to get over that hurdle, to make sure that I can really speak and listen to my customers more. So that's the biggest thing that keeps me up at night.
Okay, so there was a couple of questions in there that started to play out. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on that as well. First off, I got the feeling that you were asking, um, how do I convert customers better, essentially, and the right client by differentiating myself against all the other videographers out there? Was that kind of what you were asking?
Yeah, and especially if the is the a complex one. Um, so
Sorry,
it may not be very difficult to, it may not be very easy to understand, because there are many bit moving parts to the vehicle. So it's like, should I use analogies more? You know, should I not go into those details, etc. You know, so it's around that because it's like if I'm if I'm in the expert mode of mind when I speak to them, they won't be able to understand what I mean. It's just like having an academia PhD tell you about their thesis, when you know nothing about their subject field.
yeah,
It's a bit hard to relate. It's
sure.
hard to get out of that frame of mind. So
Okay, so a thing that you've highlighted there very well, and at least you're aware of it, is that many people, when we speak or try to communicate to others, i.e., our customers, we use our own language. We speak as if we speak in our language the way that we believe other people will understand it. Now, what commonly happens now is that we use lingo or dialect that our customers don't relate to or connect with. You need to put yourself in their shoes. So the best way to do it is to really understand what is your customer like, what pain points are they feeling, what problems do you solve for them. So if you're creating a video could be a very simple thing to sell and position if your video will solve that customer's biggest problem or pain point at that moment in time. Now, you can't really say I can solve your problem. What you need to start to understand is what your customer's journey, how they're feeling in that moment in time. How does that problem relate to their closest people around them and impact those people? You know, who already knows your customer? For example, if your target audience is a female business owner within fitness, then you need to really understand her mindset at the moment in time, what problems she's facing in her business, in her life. Does she have children? Where do her children go to school? What do her children eat? How much time is she spent on social platforms, running her business, trying to communicate to her customers in the most effective way. So once you distill that, you'll be able to convert a lot more customers. Now, how do you do that? That's about creating, essentially, you know how to create videos probably better than I do, right? But you want to engage, you want to kind of firstly get a hook, you want to capture people's attention within the first couple of seconds that really gets them locked into what you're about to say. You then give them a bit of educational advice and share your knowledge and expertise on how you can solve their problem. By doing that a number of times and testing headlines, hooks, that just keep testing. You're able to record 50, 60 videos for prospecting and just put it out there. Run a small Facebook campaign where you put a small budget towards testing those headlines and conversion and see which works, and then spend more in that area. You're going to be able to test before really going deep into it, and that's the only way really you can understand what's going to work. Back in the day, you would have had to kind of really spend a hell of a lot of time strategizing on what's going to work, what's not, what worked for us in the past. But now, this age, you can really whip up a piece of content and add a prospecting lead and be very personal in it. You could say, hey, fitness females in London, we have an amazing chance for you to connect with your clients far better when you're selling your fitness apparel. We've worked with 4 women owners just like you. We understand that you don't have time to generate the content you need to create to captivate your audience and convert to customers. We can do that for you. We're specialists. Book a call with me below and I'll show you how really quickly. Then you go, guys, I'm in Birmingham tomorrow. And you just really, by the way, they're towns here in the UK. So
Yeah.
so you can put out some potentially thousands of test adverts to see which ones convert, and keep testing. Then write down what headline really worked in one space. It may not have resonated with your customer in another space, but you've got to try and essentially put yourself in their shoes, use the language that they use, because 4.6K 30 frames per second is not going to be anything to anyone, really.
Yeah.
So you want to play it on the problem. How do I, me, videographer Joel, take your time. I'm the guy for you to create captivating, converting videos like you've never seen before because I can do it. Let me show you how. Something like that, and just put it out. I think as long as you use the framing and the problems that they are doing, you'll be able to help that. Using their content, using themselves in their own content is going to convert more. And using babies and dogs convert more, get more engagement.
Yeah.
How you can bring that into
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of explored that avenue which you suggested, which actually works pretty well. And that's how I kind of got my prospecting refined actually. Which is interesting because, like what you say when you record a video, an interesting side benefit to that was they kind of saw what they were going to get because if it kind of works on them, they can kind of relate how it would work for their own things that they were trying to sell. So that was useful. Then it actually brings back to my previous question, which is it's almost like as hard as trying to sell like financial services or insurance, because I'm trying to extrapolate something into the future. So a videographer's value comes from being able to produce the content. But if you're going to throw that up on, for example, a YouTube channel with just 100 people who watch it, then the value of that thing is just 100 people's worth of, stuff. You may spend a big budget, a commercial, like Hollywood budget on it, but the value of the end result is still 100 people. So that's where, it comes into the second part, which is the strategy. So for me, I kind of gotten several niches that locked down in terms of I really understanding what will work for them. And I'm trying to broaden and explore into different niches beyond just testing in terms of prospecting or marketing. And I can't really say like, oh, hey, I've worked with 4 dentists like yourself before. If I'm exploring to a new field where I've never worked with dentists, perhaps maybe I've worked with like a doctor or chiropractor or etc. in a related field, it might be easier because they're similar. But what if, let's say, I'm in a situation where I have no similar examples to what they to their service or industry? How can I still relate to them beyond just universally, of course, really trying to understand their problems? And I think this is an aversion that comes from, I don't know, my part of the world. It is very peculiar because I find that even European clients or American clients are pretty more open towards it, but in Asia I don't know why. Maybe even in Singapore, people are more cautious or much more guarded. So it's bizarre how even the geography differs according to where I'm trying to reach, and then I kind of have to speak to them in a different way. So that's something that keeps me up at night, because because my audience is kind of branched into different regions, so it's quite a pickle for me to, and of course it's a very interesting challenge because it's mind work and having to be able to figure out, okay, this market I kind of have to speak in this way and then switch, if I'm replying to different people at the same time. So it's a and I know, I think this is something to do with me as a person. Like I have to grow past it. So either something in terms of my character has to change, or there's a new skill set that I have to learn to be able. I think it's a strategy. I think the strategy is sound. I just think in terms of me as an individual, I have to grow. Um, so that's something I need to get clarity on.
Okay, so if I've understood you right, you would like an answer to how do I take my expertise and success from working with clients in one niche and apply it to another niche?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you can't see a sort of correlation. So you want to expand into a new market, essentially, working with different clients.
yeah.
The way I would go about it is, how did you? I'll ask you a question. How did you get your first clients?
Oh, it's interesting. I got my very first client from a Facebook group. It's very funny. Where I actually posted up a video that I did for fun. It wasn't paid. It was really just for my own, pleasure's sake, and I just threw it up. And then someone saw it and they said, "Hey, I think you have the same taste as me. So you know, here's a 6 video project for you to do over the next couple of months." And that's how it kicked off. And I pretty much didn't have to even sell or anything. So that's really how I got started. Um, as Back then it was as a freelancer. So in terms of me now, because I have to streamline different things, if I'm going to systemize and optimize it and make sure it's consistent, then I have to change a little bit of that strategy. So I'm in a bizarre phase where I feel like I'm starting from scratch again, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So
So to answer your question, right, it's just apply that same logic. Let's not get fancy about it. If I was you, I would go into, say you want to go and do some videos for an insurance broker. I would go and find where insurance brokers hang out, either Facebook groups, LinkedIn, search insurance broker, or on Twitter, search insurance broker. Okay, and I would go into their group, start listening to what they're talking about, what are some common themes coming up, and start trying to take part in that conversation. If you start to find out some very common problems or issues, or you spot a space that you can really provide value, then you can jump in and say, hey guys, now I'm not an insurance broker, but using my experience from sales of vehicles, I think you might see a bit more success using this method of approach. Or have you guys considered capturing more of your audience and engaging with more of your customers by using video? Let me show you how to do it. Would love to have a 15-minute call with you, or I'll tell you what, because I haven't done an insurance video before, I really just want to learn how to do it. I'll give 2 free videos to the first people that respond to this message. Really looking forward to it. As long as I can use you as a case study, then there you go. So even if you want to go one step further, is, guys, I know you are struggling to convert and engage with your audience on social media. I'm a video strategist. I've worked with chiropractors, dentists, doctors, car salesmen, and I know I can help insurance brokers. However, let me show you how. First 2 people to get back to me with this video, I'll give you a free 30-second video just to show you what I'm worth, completely free, because I want to also learn if I am right for the insurance industry. I think I am because I've done this for years in other industries. I've helped them sell more clients and engage with more customers and tell a story. You guys aren't too dissimilar.
Mm.
The common theme is solving problems and connecting with audience through storytelling. I can help you do that. Edit it out, do it for free, make 20 of them, and just test which one converted most, and then just reflip that one and keep putting that out there. Go to where your audience already is. If you can, remember such a thing like a joint venture partner. Now, a lot of times I advise my clients on joint venture partnerships. Too many people go for the headlines and social media, tactics, video. No offense, but what you want to be doing is building the foundation. The foundation comes from person-to-person relationships. Social media amplifies that. So if you're trying to get into a new market, what I would do is work with the people I already have worked with. So if you've done a video, 6 videos for a chiropractor, he must have, if he's a legal and a very reputable chiropractor, he must have insurance on his business and his home. Ask him to connect you with his insurance broker, and ask the chiropractor, how good is this insurance broker? Does he have a video? Do you think video would be valuable to him? Get him to connect you with his insurance broker. Then suddenly you've got a referral and a customer saying, look, this guy's really good. Value for you. Then you've got an inroad. Then you can negotiate with that insurance broker to create a video. As long as you use him as a case study, you can then say, look, I will connect you with some of my other clients that may need insurance in the future, because once you're part of my network, I want to recommend you to, I know that you work really well. I've worked with you, so I trust you. I'm going to connect you with some of my other clients that may need insurance, etc., etc. So you're sending customers to each other through introductions, and you're scaling your business because you're creating video content for them.
Yeah, it's really useful thoughts actually in terms of how you think about it. So just so that I get and understand what you're trying to say. I think the common trend you were saying previously was, I think it applies a lot around people trying to flaunt it or fake it online. Especially because it's like, especially when I have done all these various things before, there is the tendency to wanna put up an image that you know what you're doing. And I think this is something that is not talked about a lot. But the way that you came across when you talked about some of the examples that you would do a video on, it's kind of like, oh, matter of factly, this is something that I've done before, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work for you particularly. But I'm willing to give it a shot if you're willing to. So I think that comes across a lot more trustworthy, authentic, and there's a lot more integrity in terms of the way that is communicated, which I think is something that I have to consistently work on as well. It's something that I think I kind of have the self-awareness that I'm doing it sometimes, but I still have to keep trying to push myself towards being more authentic in my own communication, because if I'm trying to help my clients to do so, then I have to walk by example. So that's thank you for that. In terms of the second part of what you said, I think it's just in terms of being more resourceful around like what you say, who you already know, who you're already being connected with, and trying to find out if there's any crossovers for any potential partnerships or collaborations and stuff like that. So I'll definitely, in terms of action steps, I'll go and look up the list and find out, probably have a list of niches that I want to explore and see if people I know already know them, and then
I think, look, setting up a referral program that's part of your strategy, your outreach program, is a great thing to do. Many people forget about it or neglect it. They don't spend enough time building out a reliable referral program, and they also neglect joint venture partnerships. Now, many people will be like, oh yeah, I know such and such. But if you make it part of your strategy, a fundamental, you will grow exponentially, okay? And working with businesses that perhaps are perceived as, core businesses, say like accountants, insurance brokers, recruiters, and many, those core businesses, right? They are an inroad to almost any industry because every business needs an accountant, needs an insurance broker, and a recruiter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can, then unfortunately, the least interesting people at networking events most of the time because they're very focused on what they do, and what they do well is finance. So when I say like accountants, generally not the most personable person with a
Yeah.
networking event because
Yeah.
most,
Yeah.
but then actually most people in a networking space aren't that interesting because they're there to sell. They're just trying to sell themselves. They don't know how to
Yeah.
it properly.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the way to be interesting is to be interested. So you go to the other person within a networking environment and how do I help you? Like you figure out how you can provide value to that person. Ask them about what they do, their business, what's their ideal customer, what's their ideal client, and if I'm sat next to them on a dinner round table, I want to know that I can connect them with you. So try and understand their ideal client, and then you've suddenly got like a referral network. And if you make friends with the accountants, they sit in the power of authority and have a very good integrity majority of the time. So if a
Yeah.
referral comes from them, it's a strong one. So dive in, make friends with some accountants, and that may be an inroad for you to get into other niches. What you can do is say, look, Mr. Accountant, at the moment, what I see online from you and your business is not, it could be better. Now, let me help you create an awesome, engaging video that's going to help you get more clients that you really want. In fact, what I'll do is I'll create that for you and let me see how it goes. And if you start converting clients off the back of it, then what I'll ask for is that I can use you as a case study and that you can connect me with some of your best clients, because what I've done for you, I can do for them. And if they grow, guess what? You'll have more work. You'll get paid to do more of their numbers. So
Yeah.
helping accountants' clients grow benefits them.
Yeah, and an offshoot to that question, to that point, I wanted to ask is also, not just in terms of different niches of industry, but also um, different sizes of scale or stages of growth of their business trajectory. So, say for example, if I'm selling I mean, of course, I'm selling a more high ticket kind of service, which I found that businesses who are starting out, it's probably not the best value for them at the moment. And of course, I can't make the decision for them. But if I put myself in their shoes, I probably wouldn't. It's just like, for example, if you're in like a mini food store that sells $10 bowls of noodles, and then you're asking me to invest $2,000. I have to sell 200 bowls to break even on that, minus rent, electricity, etc. So it's like, unless your video can kind of promise me 200 bowls, it doesn't really quite make sense. Now, of course, if they are of a large scale enough where it makes sense for them, because it now becomes an asset, then it's something different. So, my question is, in terms of that, like, I'm having difficulties trying to reach out to them, and having them trust that I understand what their concerns are, especially if um, I'm not at that scale yet. So and it's actually a reason I didn't talk about for my podcast, because my podcast I'm trying to get guests on the show who are at such a far ahead level from where I'm at so that I can try to understand what they're going through with no agenda, because I'm not selling anything, or they're not my clients, and there's no money involved. So that's the thing that I'm currently working on, and I find it very useful in giving me an eye opener into that. But I want to ask you in terms of fostering relationships with people and not having an agenda when you go to them, especially if they're successful. The more successful they are, I think the more guarded they are as well, and the more cautious they are around people. So it's like, and but I really want to learn, and I'm asking them for their time, and their time is just, um, you know, whether it be getting access, you know, bringing value, or just being there. What are some of the what are some of the questions you ask yourself, and how do you go about um, doing that? Of course, connecting yourself with people who are playing at a much higher level, so that you can grow.
What do you think you should do?
Um, I think that I would be honest. To be honest, like, I wouldn't try to fake it. That I that I understand their business, or what their fears and concerns are. But that's not to say that I wouldn't say that uh, I try to make an effort to understand. And I think that um, the successes that I've had in terms of being able to be around these people is when I'm sincerely just being there, and they value my time there. So say for example, if they bring me out to a really expensive place, for example, and I know I can't afford it, normally sometimes they would treat me to that meal, or wherever place they're going, because they know, of course, their financial capacity is much higher than me, but they appreciate my time and they value it. Um, so that's the way of them contributing to the conversation. But I find that they don't mind me being around, because I'm not there to sell them something or have an agenda or anything like that. But I know that there are times where just me being around is like, oh hey, if someone needs video, I'm the first person at the back of their minds. But that's of course a more long-term strategy. But I think that's something that I would do instead, which I think that it's very different from what you say, the networking, where you're just there trying to sell something. So that's something that
Have you
works for
tried?
me.
So, what's your question? Was it how do you convert some of these high ticket
How do you
skills? Because there was two there. There was more like how do you
yeah,
surround yourself with successful people to get insights and gain knowledge to level up, and then the first one was more about how do you
I'll
sell
start with
higher
the
ticket
second
prices.
question, which is how to get connected with more successful people in whatever form that you want to call it, whichever goal you're going after. So that you can understand and be around these people to really understand what problems they're having, and to see how you can bring value to them, which is something that I eventually want to get my own services or products to. Um, because then I'm able to bring a value at a much higher level. Because ultimately, for me, if I'm selling video, the end product looks the same. It is, it's the same deliverable. It's one video, two videos, three videos, or 10 or 15. But it makes a world of difference how those videos are used, how they're designed, and for what purpose in which organization. Samsung using my video would reach millions or billions of people in the world. And if I design it in such a way that actually solves their real problem, I help a lot more people. But if I do it the exact same one, and I plant it in a business that, say has just five customers, then it's a completely different thing. So that's something that is, I think, a more unique problem to something that I
No, I
sell.
think what you're getting at is that you need to understand the value that you're giving to the person on the other side of the table, either whether that's a video, whether that's a speech, whether that's knowledge, experience, distribution, a product, food. You want to provide more value than you. Yeah, there needs to be some sort of understanding that you need to give. Essentially, you need to, if you want to start solving problems and making sure that your videos go on to impact millions of people, then if that's what you're trying to do, then why not do that for free? Like, could you, for example, go to some of these highly successful people that, yes, they have the big budget, but then you say, look, I want to just create an awesome video to help you reach more customers, solve some problems. Like, let me create a video for you. I'll do one for free just so you can see the level of my work and see what they say. You know, firstly, you've got to see if you're any good to play at that sort of level.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
they'll respect you that you're willing to put some skin in the game, invest in it, and prove that you're worth that. They probably get approached by a lot of people, hundreds of people saying, you know, here's my rate card, buy this, buy this. You go there, I tell you what, I love being around you. My value is gaining just being around you and absorbing through osmosis the sheer value that you're putting out. Now, what I would love to do, in fact, do that. Tell you what, try this for me. Try this as a test. Rock up recording a video. Okay, do a vlog. Say, hey, I'm Joel. I work at Take Your Time. I run Take Your Time. Okay, and I worked with a chap on an awesome podcast called Jana. He told me to document this, and I'm going to go up to Elon Musk and I'll tell him that I'm gonna follow him around with document his life with a video for a few days, and I'm gonna snip it up and help him sell some more Teslas and help him generate more following for SpaceX. He may tell me to get lost, but he may say, yeah, sure, follow me around for a bit. Let's do this. Now, if you're willing to go there, put the effort in, graft at that sort of level, and show the courage to do so, you may get somewhere. You know, you may not, but at least you've documented that, you've tested it. Did it work? Yes or no? You've then got the content of you trying. That document, that hustle is good. Okay. Now, let's talk about someone slightly more approachable and realistic.
Yeah.
Put the time in. Like, everyone wants a get rich quick scheme. Everyone wants a magic pill for them to lose weight. Now, the only way to do that is to go to the gym day in, day out, sweat more, move more than you eat, drink more water, eat healthier. Okay. There is no magic formula to weight loss. There is no magic pill. There's no magic diet. Diets are a fad. What you need to do is to eat healthier, move more. Okay, that's it. But the problem is, no one wants to do it. So my approach to you is put this work in now. Spend time with these people. Provide value. Say, oh, I don't know if you know, but working with my other clients, they saw success in this, this, and this. Share the knowledge, the experience that you have, so they can impact their own businesses. Once they start hearing a lot more value that you have to bring, they'll say, Joel, you know what? Loved having you around this week. Document a video. If you start, videoing what you're up to and what you're doing, you'll have little snippets of content that you can start distributing to your network. You can say, hey, look, can I follow you around for a week, Mr. Managing Director? We're going to create an awesome business video on yourself. It's going to improve your personal brand and your business brand. I'll edit it all up for nothing. You can then distribute it, share it amongst your fans. I'll share it amongst my audience if you're okay with it. And that's providing value. And then see what happens. I'm sure, because you're purely just hanging around with this guy, most clients, when they turn up, are going to go, who's the guy with the camera? And they're going to inquire, oh, I could do it with a camera. If this guy's got his own camera, I'll do a video. And you may be able to, I think that might be a way of, try that, see if it works. Or if nothing comes of it, you can just edit it up in a video and say, look, this is the amount of effort I'm willing to put in to get a client. I've now turned this into a video ad. It's going to follow you all over social media until you say yes. Book a time with me. As long as you're editing and the video, video is strong enough, then people will start to communicate. Then you can, I think just going and doing what you're doing by inviting people onto the podcast, getting them to share stories, is a very valuable way of getting in front of the right people. Oh, and by the way, I do professional videos that I believe I can help you land more clients and really speed up your sales journey, and you can connect with better customers. That's kind of what you want to be saying. And if they say, nah, I'm okay for now, you say, cool, great. I'm just going to send you a free video for you to pass on to your marketing team should they want to make a video in-house. I don't know. Hopefully that's given you a few
Yeah,
ideas.
it's bizarre because I got a buddy of mine say very similar things to me, and about the shiny object, and there's really no magic pill there, um, and I I think from a self-awareness point of view, having different people tell me the same thing kind of forces me not to to confront it really. I think the biggest reason that's holding me back is I like to lie to myself sometimes about certain things. I think that's something that is very true across maybe majority of people around what really is going on, because I think a lot of people will say I'm very clear on what I want this a lot, I want this really badly, but nothing moves until I think like I get clear on what's holding me back. And I think some of those things comes in the form of perhaps maybe I'm not doing enough work, or I'm not doing enough productive work. So say I could be connecting with tons of people. I mean, I am connecting with tons of people. But if things are not working, then perhaps like what you say, not enough skin in the game.
Yeah,
It's probably a simple but not easy um, realization for
I
me.
think you're not alone there, and appreciate you being honest and open up front. I think that many of us need to have that harsh conversation with ourselves. Is what's stopping me moving forward? Is it, is there certain fears that I'm facing? Is there like we are big procrastinators, okay? That's the reason why we have lived as long as we have and evolved as humans, okay? Because the overexcited doers in the world went out too quickly, tried certain poisonous food, and they died. They didn't reproduce when we were cavemen. Back so through thousands of years, that slight fearfulness, that slight procrastination has kept us safe. In this day and age, it's a false pretense. It's not actually keeping us. It's not survival anymore. It's stopping us being our true selves. So one thing here maybe to take away, if I may, because we're coming up to the end of our
Yeah.
here. But Joel, look, I think it's all about mindset. Okay, once you realize mindset controls everything, you will start to do a lot more and achieve more of anything that you want to. Okay, um, once you believe you can, you can. It's then a case of once I know I'm going to do it, how do I then take the right steps towards the top of the right mountain? Okay, so many of us procrastinate and never take that first step. That is the hardest step. Once you've taken that step, you can always change direction. You can always continue to drive forward. If you fail, you haven't lost everything. You've still got your experience, your learning, and your knowledge from those previous steps and that previous journey. And you can apply that to the next phase of your journey. Success always comes after failure. I mean, look it up in the dictionary. So believe you can. It's a mindset. Go out there, do the action, and detach the feeling or the result from the action. Okay. Now, you going and trying to close a client, don't worry whether you get it or not. It's just that's what you wanted to do. Tick. So if you want to map out how many clients you need to be working with a month, and then how many prospecting, how many calls or how many emails, how many videos did you need to do, or how many meetings, how many coffees, how many actions did it take to land a client? And then you know exactly what you need to be doing. You work it back. So for example, you need to know that you need to do 30 15-minute strategy calls with your clients to convert into 5 face-to-face meetings. Out of 5 face-to-face meetings, 1 went ahead. and it's just then it's a numbers. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Tell people how we can connect with you, reach out with you if we want a video done.
So my website is www.tapeyourtime.com. So tapeyourtime.com. So you can go on there to find out more details. I'm also on Facebook. Just search up Joel Ong Video. I'm also on Instagram as well. Tape Your Time, the handle, or Joel Ong Video. If it's my personal account. LinkedIn, you can find me. And also about the podcast, it's called the Entrepreneurs Tribe Podcast. So you can check it out, and that has been kicking off really well.
Awesome.
And it's unexpected. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to have you on sometime as well. We could discuss it.
Yeah, let's do that. So awesome. Next time we'll meet, I'll be on your show, and it'll be awesome. Thanks so much for joining me. That was Joel at Tape Your Time, video strategist, videographer, really cool guy. I wish you all the best, and please feel free to watch previous episodes, share, and live what you listen today, guys, and take some of this information on to how it can impact your own lives, your own businesses. I've been Jana. This is the Ask Jana show, and I am here to help you answer your best and biggest questions. All the best. See you later, Joel.
See you.
Bye.
I'd just like to thank all the listeners for tuning in today. A copy of the show notes will be found on my website, janavelli.co.uk. Please go back and check the previous episodes. I'm sure many of you have your own questions that you want to ask, so please visit my website, janavelli.co.uk, and that's CANERVELI.co.uk. Scroll to the very bottom and you'll see a box highlighting the Ask Jana show. Click that link and you will be able to submit your questions and apply to even join me on the show. So I'm really looking forward to helping you get out of a rut, or even take you and your business to the next level. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Janavelli, on TikTok jana.velli. It's a great way to interact with me and listeners of the show. There's videos of each episode over on my site and YouTube. I'm really looking forward to you tuning in the future. Live what you listen. All the best. Have a great week.